welcome. Let me begin today's interview in our ongoing series, Courtcraft, by giving a brief introduction to our esteemed guest today, Justice Kshitij R. Vyas, who is a former Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court and a former chairperson of the Maharashtra Human Rights Commission. Justice Vyas completed his legal education in the year 1968 from the MS University at Baroda and thereafter began his practice at the Gujarat High Court. As a lawyer, Justice Vyas appeared in civil, criminal, revenue, as well as constitutional matters, for which he also frequented the Supreme Court. In 1990, he was elevated as a judge of the Gujarat High Court, and subsequently, he was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court in 2006.
Thank you very much.
So, my first question to you is, it'll take you back to your law school days. So how did you get into the study of law, and what interested you to apply to the MS University Law College?
Okay. It is a very strange history also, in the sense that my father wanted me to be a doctor.
Okay.
So in fact, I got admission in Bombay, Bhavans College, Bombay,
okay,
in the science stream. Then what happened, see, this is entirely a different field, because I studied in a Gujarati medium school in the remote town of Surat district.
Okay.
So it was very difficult for me to understand the science subjects, especially this mathematics, the trigonometry and geometry, and so many other calculus and so many things.
Yes, sir.
So it was very difficult. I couldn't understand anything, whatever the lecturers, professors, they used to teach us. So ultimately the result was obvious. So I failed there. Then my father wanted me to have a second innings also. Okay, you can still continue, no problem. But my uncle, he was a very practical man. He was a lawyer.
Okay.
He was practicing in the Taluka town court in Jagadia, that is in Bharuch district.
Okay.
So he advised my father, okay, leave the science and science streams and all these things. Let him clear this BA, LLB. That would be very easy. And in those days also, it was not that difficult also. One can easily get through this law course also. And one can start practice very easily also. So my father agreed to give, okay. So I got admission in MS University, Baroda.
Yes, sir.
And I just got through it. No problem. There was no problem. All 6 years with very easily I passed all the subjects. In those days also, this my subjects in the BA course was history as well as law.
Okay.
So law, this elementary laws, the teacher used to teach us. So anyway, I got through it, and I started my practice with my uncle at Jagadia, in Bharuch district. So that was in the month of June 1968, and July 19 was my birthday. So my uncle gave me a present. He gave me a first brief. That was a suit on the promissory note.
Okay.
Promissory note. My client was a defendant, and that was also, see, the suit was filed against my client at Kathor Court. Kathor, that is in Surat district.
Okay.
So he gave now here is your brief, first brief. You can study it. You can prepare the defense written statement and everything, and you have to go to Kathor on every date. I said, no problem. I was very happy. In those days, at least he gave me 75 rupees. That was my first brief. So I used to go in a bus as and when the date of hearing on every date. And in fact, to be very to be very frank with you, in fact, my uncle prepared the return statement also. Naturally, in the except except denial, there was nothing. In fact, promise and this standard defense. Okay, this man has no license under the Money Lending Act,
Yes.
and all these are the. But basically, see, everything we have to admit it also because our signature was there on the promissory note and everything. So I used to go as a 5 and 6 days. After 5 and 6 days, the judge ultimately took up the case, and he told me, "Okay, there is nothing in the matter. See, you have to pay one sooner or later. Anyway, you will have to pay this amount. I can give you at the most installments. You have to accept it now. That is the best thing you can do." And that was also my uncle told me also, "Okay, but you will have to get the installment. That's all, because this man is at least hardly must have taken 2,000 rupees." Uh, so I said, "Okay." Then he said, "Okay, every 3 months you have to pay 500 rupees, and now file a purchase in the matter." So purchase, what is that purchase? I did not know.
Okay.
The judge said, "Why are you standing?" Said, "Do it now, right? File the purchase." Purchase means consent terms.
Yeah.
So ultimately, he said, the lawyer for the plaintiff, he understood my problem. The man doesn't, the boy doesn't know the meaning of purchase.
Okay.
So, okay, don't worry, sir. We will do it, sir. I will come after 10 minutes. They just say, "Okay, you go outside and prepare the purchase and file it." So ultimately, he drafted the consent terms, that is purchase, and we have presented it. The judge said, "Okay, just case is over." So that was my first experience as a lawyer. And thereafter, ultimately, see, in the taluka courts, see, one this accept this bail applications and accept these small criminal cases. There was nothing. Ultimately, I have decided, okay, I must shift to Ahmedabad. My father was in Ahmedabad at that time. He was a government servant. He was an engineer. So I shifted my. After having practiced at Jagadia for 8 months, I came down to Ahmedabad.
Um,
There I joined the chamber of Mr. Vittalbhai Patel, VB Patel.
okay. Okay.
I was a very senior advocate. He came from Bombay also. He was practicing in Bombay, and after bifurcation, he shifted to Ahmedabad. So I
Yeah.
started practice with him. There I got, there I had my colleagues were one Mr. Chari, one Mr. Dosi. They were ultimately we have decided after having just with Mr. Patel for at least 1.5 years, we have decided to have our own office. That was in '68. And Mr. Patel told us also that this is too early. One
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
with the senior advocates for at least minimum 5 years. Thereafter, you can have. This is too early. You won't be um, happy also. You we can no. Now we have decided we'll have our own. So in fact, we have hired an office also near the Dinesh Hall. It was a good office in those days, considered to be a very new building and everything. And ultimately, Mr. Dosi, he was a engineer also, BE, ME, uh, then LLM. So many degrees he has got. He has in fact returned from America also. There also he
Okay.
studied. Ah, so LLM he must have done it at America also.
Okay.
So he said, "Sir, GC, first of all, if you want to be a successful lawyer, you must get an recognition. Unless you get recognitions, you won't
Okay.
succeed in
Yeah.
this field. It's a highly competitive field. So how to get uh, uh, recognition?" So he said, "Sir, we must write down a book. So and we must write down a book during our free hours after practice, after going to after court hours. We must do this also." And ultimately, in fact, we were in the chamber of Mr. Patel. So he has mainly practiced on the industrial law, labor laws and
Okay.
industrial laws.
Okay.
So we have decided that we must at least write a book on the industrial law.
Hmm.
And therefore, see, ultimately we got old law journals, ILJ and everything right from 1950. So we have decided to write book that is a digest on labor laws.
Okay.
So we used to study the judgments of the Supreme Court and various high courts, and ultimately we have decided we in fact divided the subjects also. As far as this reinstatement part is concerned, Mr. So and so, Mr. Doshi will do it, Mr. Chari will do it, Mr. Vyas will do it, something like that, and ultimately see, we have started that also. Ultimately,
Okay.
in fact, those were our early days. So we had no work also, except some matters in the High Court. No work also. So we were totally free. We used to write so many judgments, and ultimately, one idea also came from Mr. Doshi. He said, "See, unless we meet the client personally, nobody will recognize us. So we have to meet, we have to find out the clients also." That was totally new thing for me. How to find out the clients? So he said, no, we will go. And ultimately, we have started collecting the addresses of so many employers who has factories in the nearby area, vicinity of Ahmedabad. Ultimately, on 2 bikes, we used to go to this factories areas, GIDC, Narol, Vatwa, all those areas we used to cover. And we used to meet the manager or senior manager there. And ultimately, we are in fact available for this work. Whatever work you have, then we can help you also. You can find
Yes.
out.
So,
Even
so,
for getting he said, no, we don't have any work. So this is the common standard reply we used to get. So ultimately, then Doshi has a brilliant idea. He said, now we must find out whether this man is involved in a labor case or not. How can we find out that? So ultimately, he found out, see, he started getting government gazettes. So in the government gazettes, see, this certain this reference is being noted down. So and so as dispute is referred to labor law, labor court or industrial court between so and so on the matter of reinstatement of party number one, something like that. So we used to inform the employer, see, this case is being filed in the industrial court. So we are available. We started getting briefs also on that count. So somebody told us, their lawyers also, they must have come to know also, their retainers.
yeah.
This is how this is the illegal practice. You can't advertise, you can't do this type of business. Ultimately, see, this is our professional misconduct. You
Yeah.
can't do such things.
Mhm.
So we have dropped this idea. We can't do such things. This is not permissible. This is professional ethics, and so many questions will come. So that
So,
is how, and ultimately that was also short-lived. Our practice, our partnership was also short-lived. Within 18 months, we all separated.
okay.
And ultimately, everybody started their own. At least my uncle was there in the taluka level with his help and with so many other lawyers from the taluka level, district level courts. At least I started getting matters also.
So this,
Thereafter,
so my next question to you, after hearing your initial struggles, if right now you were to write a book, what they don't teach you at law school, so what are the three important points that you would like to cover in that book? Something that they don't teach you at law school, even now, in fact.
Ajay, that is this will help to the newcomers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Now, in fact, my practice at the bar for at least 22 years, at least I have studied two or three things. Okay, you must have a confidence, first of all.
Yeah.
Unless you must be ready for any matter, whether you know about the subject or not, you must have clear answer to that. I may give my own example. Once we were, um, at that time I was a smoker also. My friends and we used to stand in the near the pawn shop, the High Court premises itself, old High Court.
Okay.
We were just smoking there. At that time, a client came, a person came. He said that, Vakil Sahab, who is the best lawyer in the court?
Yeah.
So I said, I am the best lawyer in this court. So my friends were surprised. See, you have practice of at least hardly 5 years. And how can you say that you are the best lawyers? So after that man left us, I answered them. In fact, that was the question at that time. They asked at that time after leaving that man. You see, he has not asked, how is Mr. So and so as the lawyer, or Mr. So and so is uh, efficient lawyer or not. If that question was asked, I would have said yes, he is the best lawyer. But he has not named any lawyer. He just asked a simple question: who is the best lawyer? Then why should I say that Mr. So and so is better than me? At least I can handle this case. At least on getting this answer, that man briefed me, and I worked hard. So, and I succeeded also in the matter, in his case.
Yeah.
So that is the self-confidence. Then secondly, as I told you, this recognition, that is very necessary. Recognition from the lawyers, that is from the bar, from the bench also. Unless the, at least if somebody asks, if somebody comes and inquire, okay, where is Mr. So and so, and then at least he must that must be able to answer, yes, he is here and I know him. He is a good lawyer, something like that. If you don't attend the court, nobody will know you. Therefore, one has to attend. Similarly, this is a matter of from the bench also. The judges also must know you. If somebody asks, then they must say, yes, he has appeared before us, and this I know them. I know him, and ultimately he is a good lawyer. He's a good lawyer. So that's like. And thirdly, at least you don't waste your time just whiling away. Just don't while away your time. You must be there in the court, even if you have no work. You must be there. At least I used to attend the court also. If I don't have any other work, then in the first court or in the uh, important case, the court which is taking up important case, at least I used to attend that also, and in the library also.
Yeah.
So these are the things. These are of course very small things, but which has helped me. Which has helped me a lot.
Okay.
And that is.
That's very insightful, sir. So, and later on, you were also a representative of the Ucha Nyayalay Patrika and a reporter for the Gujarat Law Times. So how has that helped you in your career as a lawyer and then later on as a judge?
That is what I was telling. You see, when we three were partners at that time also, at least I was always insist that you must be recognized by all. Therefore, these are the ways at least I get. At least with great problem. At least I got the work of getting this assignment. Ultimately, I got this assignment because at least, in fact, a publisher at that time, Vora and Company, they also asked me, hey, can you prepare a short, a handy book, say in a digest form, which can help at least no lawyer or a public in general would like to read the big books heavy volume books, something like. So a handy book they want me to prepare. So I have written a book that is the digest on the industrial law, then prevention of food adulteration act, and the third thing also at least urban land sealing act.
Urban Land
So
Ceiling Act.
that is how that has impact that urban land sealing act also. So that is in fact it was appreciated by so many lawyers and the law schools and public at large also. Okay, this is a very handy book. This, that is how at least I try to get as much recognition as I can.
So, and your interest in Industrial Disputes Act or labor laws, did it start from your law school days or through your practice in representing clients in the court? When did that
No, practice
interest begin?
during
Through
during
practice.
during practice only. Because I started my practice with Mr. Patel, who was he is expert in the labor laws. In fact, he has written a Industrial Dispute Act also,
Okay.
and so many matters books.
So, and in these areas, today, if a lawyer wants to practice in Industrial Disputes Act or under various labor laws, what are a few things that they need to keep in mind while representing their client or advising their client or arguing before the court in respect of Industrial Disputes Act or the labor laws in our country?
Now, at least, what is the position today in the industrial laws? Because those were the days. At least there were so many unions. Huh? They were
Yes.
unions. They used to fight read petitions challenging the dismissal and um, they, their right to have a strike and so lockout and everything. They used to do it. Ultimately, High Court, after hearing them also, ultimately they say you go to the labor court. Thereafter, you come. That is that is at that time the court used to take such views also. But in so many times also, the High Court used to entertain that labor dispute also, in the sense that in the PIL which are being filed in the High Court, ultimately see that the working condition is not proper. Whatever the employer used to give or is required to give, he is not giving. Something like that. See, I may give my own example. You see, the PI, so many PILs at least I have fought in the High Court for employer side. You see this um, yeah, uh, sugar cane matters ultimately. See,
Okay.
as far as the cutting of the sugar canes are concerned, see, ultimately that work is being done by the experts. And those laborers come from Maharashtra or Ratnagiri or this farthest corner. They used to come here during this cutting season. And ultimately, see, their working condition was very poor, hopeless, in the sense that they were not provided by the employer proper uh, um, place to stay, residence.
Yes.
They were not provided. They used to stay in a very um, it is worse than a jhopdi also,
Okay.
something like that. See, they used to stay in the open, and the children were also not getting proper food. Even the monies are concerned, that the proper wages were also not paid. So many conditions, their working conditions were absolutely hopeless. And that was to improve that, a direction from the court was necessary. And so therefore, a PIL was filed. And ultimately, see, we were representing the employer side. And ultimately, we have given, we used to give proper facilities, say medical facilities and so many others, whatever defense we can take, that we have taken. Ultimately, we have fought up to Supreme Court also, but the Supreme Court has also refused that. Ultimately, nowadays the court also says that you must provide proper
Yeah.
hygiene facilities and everything. The medical facilities also you must provide, and so many things ultimately. Similarly, this in the one more matter. See the working condition of the laborers at the Sardar Sarovar site. that was also a PIL was filed. Okay, no medical facilities are made available to them. And the same thing, they are staying in a most unhygienic condition, and so many problems regarding their laborers. So that also ultimately we have to justify. The court has appointed a committee to go and inquire about their working conditions. So all these things, therefore, the time has come during our time that the laborer this on this PL were filed to get the better facilities for the employer or for the employees, laborers and downtrodden persons. Therefore, now these are nowadays at least the same thing is there. I suppose the same thing must be there.
It's there. It's there. So
It is there. Okay.
yeah. So my next question to you. So since 1968, you had started your practice, and now you retired in the year 2006. So
Yeah.
what is the big difference that you see that has changed the profession between the starting of your career and towards the end, when you retired as the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court? What is that biggest difference that you have felt or seen?
I think I have already told you this conditions that this as you told me that PIL is still there ultimately for the better facility betterment of the downtrodden persons. That was in fact started during our times, and
Yes,
now
sir.
it still continues. Still continues. At least at least the people have started getting justice from the court. See, the court just they don't throw away the matters on the ground of alternative remedy available, something like that. It is being entertained by the court. Therefore, there is no much change as far as that
Okay.
part is concerned.
So, and because of the ongoing pandemic, we have shifted to an online hearing system. So,
Ah,
given the swift adoption of this technique, what do you feel would be
ah.
the next 5 or 10 years? How the legal system in the country would uh, adapt
You
to it?
better don't ask me this question because as I told you, I found it difficult to uh, get connection with you also.
Yes, sir. So,
That
so
in fact, you advised me to have to download Zoom and all these things. Ultimately, I think that is all we have to accept. This is the modern way of dealing with the justice. Ultimately, see this in these days, this is absolutely necessary. One just can't go to the court with
yeah,
their clients. If that is permitted in this case, there won't be any end to it.
yeah,
It will spread. Therefore, it is necessary. And ultimately, this is the wise decision taken by the Supreme Court as well as High Court. It is unfortunate that at least the lower courts are still
yes,
not working at present. That is a
yeah.
very unfortunate part. Uh, okay,
So,
but I think this is a very welcome change.
yes, sir, indeed, sir. So, in fact, this is my last question to you about your experience as a Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court. Because as young lawyers today, we hear so much about the Bombay High Court. We have been reading about legal history and articles about it, and we see stalwarts in the court from coming from the Bombay High Court. So,
Yeah.
your experience as the Chief
I
Justice.
I wish I could have continued for some more times in Bombay because I had a very short term, just hardly 7 months, hardly 7 months. Therefore, but at least whatever I have done, at least I'm satisfied. I had a sitting with I had a sitting with sitting in the Nagpur bench, Aurangabad, and Goa bench also. At least
Okay.
1 week I have spent there also, and it was I was fortunate to have some stalwarts appear before me in the first court. But as far as the other part is concerned, that is just it is not a thing that can at least I can boast about it. But see, as far as this annual general meeting is concerned in the Bombay High Court,
Yes.
that is the I think good thing I have done. A new thing. This has never happened in the 150 years of the history of the Bombay High Court.
Okay. Okay.
That is normally see the 3 days. We are having the 3 days annual chamber meeting where all the judges from various benches, they come to Bombay and participate, and then the problems are being solved. Some decisions are taken in the meeting. So one day I had an idea, why should the meeting is held at Bombay only? See, we can hold it at Aurangabad, we can hold it at Goa, we can hold it at Nagpur also, because they are also part and parcels of the Bombay High Court. So I just asked my registrar, can we do it or not? Sir, we can certainly do it, but it would be very expensive. Nobody has done it up till now. If nobody has done it, then we can do it also. Nothing wrong in it. So, but how? I will not spend a pipe from the High Court. I'll see to it that everything is arranged. So we used to have a meeting with once a month. We used to have a meeting with the chief ministers, and there so many agendas pertaining to judiciary only were being discussed. And so a meeting was arranged at my bungalow, where chief minister from Bombay, from Goa, they both came with their secretaries and principal secretaries and registrar, everything. So many persons were present. So there were about 30 issues, agendas. It was over within 10 minutes. The chief minister agreed, yes, sir, as far as judiciary is concerned, no problem. We can grant. Everything is over. Thereafter, I said, we would like to hold our annual meeting for 3 days in Goa. How would you like to help us? How will you solve our problems? Because we don't have money. Then the chief minister of Goa immediately said, after consulting his principal secretary, sir, it would be our honor to have all the 57 judges of the Bombay High Court. So we will, I hereby sanction 20 lakhs rupees for their stay at Bombay or at Goa, and they will be our state guest. I was very happy. Yes, immediately he granted. Thereafter, see the flight Bombay to Goa, because everybody will from Aurangabad go from Nagpur, everybody will come to Goa. So he said, sir, we will have a flight. So my registrar contacted the Kingfisher. No use to mention the name of the then concerned persons. So they also agreed, sir, we don't mind MCAS, we will give the concession. We will not, mafat mein to nahi aana chahenge. Whatever the charges are there, at least you can give us concession. You can give us proper discount, that's all. So he also agreed. And the 6,500 was actually the rate also at that time. But he has charged only rupees 6,000 for going and coming.
Okay.
Through and from. So हम लोग 3 दिन बम्बई गोवा में रहे. We completed our work also. So everybody remembered that no chief justice has done this thing ever. Next year I inquired also, okay, where was the meeting this year? Okay, sir, this year it was Nagpur. But third year when I again inquired, okay, no, now sir, it's only Bombay. So that is one. And ultimately, so many things at least I have done in Mumbai. And people, they were so kind. They appreciated my work also. Nothing more than.
Quite an experience and quite an innovative step to take for the annual general meeting there. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Lovely talking.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.